Hey everybody, Crystal here from Pet Biz Advisors. I want to go over with you about your W-2 information because I'm getting a lot of questions in the various Facebook group asking how do I handle the no tax on tips, the no tax on overtime. I'm not really sure how to put this on my taxes. The tips are not showing independently on the W-2. How do I handle this? Okay, don't worry, I got you. Okay, so on here, you're going to see a screen, and this is what a plain W-2 looks like. Okay, and so on this, I'm going to show you real quick if I can find my mouse pointer. There we go. So you're going to have all your, of course, employer information here in these sections, and then we're going to have your information. The first thing I want you to do is make sure your information is accurate. Your name, last name, address, and your information as far as your social security number. So make sure all of that is accurate on this form because that's what is reported to both the IRS and the Social Security Administration, which gives you your Social Security benefits. Okay, so we want to make sure that's going to the correct account. That's number one. Number two, you're going to see box one. This is going to be a very important box for you. You're going to see it says wages, tips, and other compensation. So this is going to be all of your taxable income that's going to be shown on here. And yes, it's going to show tips on there. It has to be in there because it is a taxable income for you. Now, as far as just in standard practice. Now, obviously in 2025, we have the no tax on tips up to $25,000 deduction that is allowed. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this here and you're going to come to your 1040, and on here, this is going to coincide with box one. This line right here is going to coincide on box one for that. So that's going to be pulled over from your W-2. And if you have any tip income that is not reported on the W-2 for whatever reason, you would put that in on line C, 1C right here. Okay. And so once you do that, you're going to have an opportunity to go to this form, and it's called the Schedule 1A. This is also on your 1040 return. It's just a schedule, basically like a worksheet that comes behind the 1040. So you're going to make sure your information is here on this first line, your correct social security number, and then you're going to see here in part two, no tax on tips. This is where we come in and you're going to put in, just follow the instructions. Your qualified tips that you receive as income can go in there, and you're going to take the lesser of the amounts, either the amount of tips, the total amount of tips that you have. So let's say you have like $10,000 for tips in the year. You're going to put that here on line 7, and you're going to enter the smaller of the amount. So, but let's say you have $30,000 in tips, which would be wonderful, right? But 30,000 in tips, well, then you would put 25,000 because it's the smaller of the two different numbers. All right. And then the no tax on overtime, again, very similar thing. You're going to put in the amount of overtime that you had, qualified overtime. Now, here is the thing. There are two different ways that you can receive the overtime. So if you are an employee that does receive overtime pay, because you're an hourly, let's say you're a bather, for example, in the dog grooming field, you will receive the information from that. And you're not going to put in the time and a half. Okay, this is where it's a little tricky. You might have to do a calculation, but I would check with your payroll provider to see if they've already done the calculation for you, and it's a specific type of overtime calculation. So, for example, if you're paid at time and a half, you're not going to get overtime pay for the full time and a half. It's just going to be the extra half hour that you get to claim because your standard pay is the full hour, and then you get the extra half hour in addition to that's your technical overtime pay. So you have to find out from your payroll company, was the calculation already done before this, or do I need to do this in thirds? Basically, what you have to do is divide it by 3. And so, and then you would take a third of that, essentially, is what you would do, and put that in here. Now, the question is that I also get all the time is, it's not on my W-2. How do I know how much in tips or overtime I made? You will need, at least this first year, to bring your last paycheck stub because it should list it in on the paycheck stub. I would even send that in with, like, if you get your taxes filed. Make sure you give that to your accountant or CPA. Make sure that they have all of this information, but it is shown on the last paycheck stub. For 2025, the government is not forcing this because it came out basically halfway through the year. And so a lot of people were not breaking out the tips and the overtime pay. They should be, but they oftentimes don't, and we're seeing that now. That's why I kept saying throughout the entire year, make sure you as the business owner, you're breaking this out for your staff, because they're going to be coming to you in January saying, what's my overtime pay? What's my tip pay? You don't want that in January. You're going to be frantic and busy. So you don't have to go back and calculate all that. Do it preemptively. But in 2026, so your W-2 for 2026 will have to have that listed separately on there. And now most payroll companies, let's say you use Gusto, ADP, QuickBooks Payroll, they all are now listing that on there. Okay. So make sure that you are seeing that separated out on your paycheck stub. Go ahead and preemptively look for your paycheck stub on 2026. Make sure that that is listed separated out. Okay. And hopefully that will be listed correctly for their sakes on the W-2. All right. So thank you so much. And again, my name is Crystal with Pet Biz Advisors. Let me know if you have any questions, need any help with anything. I have some limited free consultation time coming up in the end of February and into March, but I am being pushed out. If you are still looking for an accountant to file your taxes, I am here to help, no problem. But just please note that I am booking out until May at this point. So I would love to help you, but if you need your taxes done right away, then I would probably look for somebody closer to you in your area. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.